The 2025 NFL Draft came and went, and today I'll be talking about a couple takeaways from the draft. Winning the draft in April doesn't really matter, but still lets us know the direction a franchise may want to make, and we'll still need to wait around till December and know how a lot of these picks turn out, but it's always fun to go ahead and speculate and just talk about what we can learn from these teams at this point in time. So starting off with Jaxson Dart and Brian Daboll. Jaxson Dart was some of people's quarterback too, while others thought he was 3 or 4. The Giants would end up taking Dart in the first round after moving back up to get their guy. I think there's a couple things you can take away from this move. First one is just the Giants have to have some sort of trust in Brian Daboll. It's rumored that Daboll was higher on Dart, while others in the Giants organization felt Shedur would be the better pick. I think some of the trust the Giants have for Daboll comes down to what he did when he had a decent squad to work with. He had a fine team around Daniel Jones in 2023. It also showed that he could use his pieces to elevate Jones during that season in which they made the playoffs. And if Daboll believes that Dart is his guy, why not go ahead and make the pick? If they didn't want Daboll to make his pick, I think that they would have fired him a couple months ago. I also believe this move shows the Giants may want to give Daboll a full season. Although the Giants have struggled outside that one playoff year he made, if you're going to get a QB that the head coach wants, you have to give him the full season. Otherwise, it's just kind of a waste of a pick. The next one we'll talk about is that the Jags want Hunter to play two ways. The Jaguars moved the 5th pick and a first from next year along with a few other assets to move up. It's clear in GM James Gladstone's interviews he sees the value considering he said it's like taking two players. There are a few concerns, but I think this pick will be fine. I think Hunter will still succeed. And I do hope that they understand he won't be able to play every snap until it's really proven. That's going to be my mentality. The NFL is a step faster and a level heavier than college, but I think it's clear they'll play him two ways in some way. Whether it's him coming in a heavier defensive back set or even him on offense in sets of 3 or more receivers, they want him on the field. Gladstone has made that super apparent in his pressers. He makes Travis Hunter sound like he's been sent from Colorado to save the Jaguars franchise. You do love to see that love for your first round pick, so I'm not really hating on it. Something I worry about though with Hunter playing two ways in the NFL is his development. I feel like his development could hurt due to having to learn how to play both sides of the ball at an NFL level. That's why I feel like he may play one position full time while being more of a package guy otherwise. A positive on his development, though, is that we saw he was able to take a step up at receiver last year in college. Before that, he was showing to be more of a defensive back, but he took that step up to be an even better receiver. And also, the NFL is faster and heavier, so it'll be interesting to see the endurance. Especially when it comes to injury, I do think this pick can pan out pretty well, but I wonder if in a couple years we'll just see it as them taking Travis Hunter the corner or Travis Hunter the receiver if he can't live up to the two-way hype in the NFL. Obviously, the Shedur Sanders slide has been covered so much, but I want to put my thoughts in on it. I think a lot of NFL teams weren't a fan of drafting Shedur just because of the lack of maturity. We can say that his dad follows him. He made a fool of himself in the interviews. He's a little cocky, sometimes arrogant, and whatever else you want to say. But a lot of that just sounds like a little bit of a lack of maturity. I thought Shedur was pretty much a top round 2 talent, with upside to be about the 12th to 16th best quarterback in the league. I think when you stack this lower ceiling on top of what's already about a round 2 talent and the maturity and Dion effect, teams may be scared to pull the trigger. I don't hate the value for the Browns, but at the end of the day, now it's going to be echo to put Shedur in all the time. Also, it's been out there that the Browns weren't even the highest on Shedur, but they figured a 5th round was too good a value to pass up. I think the fall is ultimately due to the lack of maturity, Dion effect, and low ceiling. Something to remember is that Dion was an absolute baller and played corner. Your quarterback of the future who has a shaky upside isn't someone you want to be comparing to Dion on a personality standpoint. I'm not really trying to hate on Dion or Shedur, but more so just, we all know Dion was, super big prime time in the league, and I think when it comes to your quarterback, that's not so much what you want. Like, when you think of Mahomes in the league, and no one is Mahomes, but he might be one of the few quarterbacks in the league that can be super kind of up there, is a superstar, but when it comes to an upcoming quarterback in the draft, that's not really something you want out of him. Another thing to note, though, is that none of us have been in these interview rooms, so what I go off is just anything that's been reported. And sometimes that stuff just isn't the best. As we know, journalism in sports isn't always that great. But I hope you guys enjoyed these 3 major takeaways from a couple different teams and players. I hope you guys want to subscribe and come back for more videos.